Everybody's talking about Brunswick Stew. It's true. The family keeps bickering about it.
All right, we're going to jump on into our heirloom recipe for the evening. Food is at the center of our culture and is so important in the Appalachian region. Food represents much more than what we eat. It represents family, memories, history, and place, and much more. With fundraising on our mind this month, we have two members of the Blue Stocking Club here, past president Mary Lynn Satterwhite and future president Barbara Smith. With over 100 years of service in the Bristol area, the Blue Stocking Club helps with community fundraising and volunteering throughout the year. From small to large projects, the Blue Stocking Club puts their first foot forward in striving to build community in our region. As a matter of fact, they were responsible for helping with the construction of our learning center right here at the birthplace of Country Music Museum. Yeah. Tonight, Barbara and Mary Lynn are going to dig into the Blue Stocking Club cookbook and talk about one of their favorite recipes, Brunswick Stew. So please give a big farm and fun time welcome to Barbara Smith and Mary Lynn Satterwhite.
Truly delighted to be here with you tonight, representing Blue Stocking Club at Farm and Fun Time.
Did you know Blue Stocking is 100 years old this year? How many civic organizations have flourished for so many years?
Well, not that many. But tell me, what are you wearing?
Well, actually, this was worn by my mother-in-law while serving guests at the old Society Day fundraisers. And what you are wearing was worn by the members in the kitchen preparing the food for these events.
The Society Day luncheons were so successful. Attendees always requested the recipes. Thus, a cookbook was developed and published by the membership. The first one was printed in the 1930s, the second in the 50s, and this one was completed in 1995. Each edition sold out and provided a supplement to the Society Day proceeds, all of which were used to support the club's community service projects.
I understand that this book contains the most coveted and sometimes secret family recipes.
Yes. Many submissions referenced stories of a dish being passed down through generations or recounted warm childhood memories of cooking in the kitchen with a beloved grandmother.
I learned pretty quickly that a certain sustainer was an exceptional cook and that anything submitted by her was sure to be a success.
And then I learned that although another previous member had a reputation for being an accomplished cook, my attempts to prepare her recipes did not turn out as well. And then I learned that she deliberately omitted an ingredient so that anything she fixed herself was always a little bit better.
So then, what are we doing tonight?
Well, we want to share some hot tips we have gleaned from this cookbook, and then read an heirloom recipe from its pages.
Like, in the front is a good tip. Actually, it's a correction I spotted. It says, please use real sherry, not cooking sherry.
People used to ask my Mamie, who lived to be 104, to share the secret of her longevity. She would always respond, a little sip of sherry, real sherry, every single night.
After reading through many of these recipes, I learned something. It's necessary at all times to have a goodly stock of canned cream of mushroom soup.
And a blue stocking recipe, attractively presented, will always be perceived as delicious.
Or, if a recipe does not turn out so well, just put it in a different dish and give it a new name. For instance, a disappointing souffle might become cream of mushroom delight.
Last but not least, a flawlessly prepared dinner is not nearly as important as the camaraderie and comfort of the guest gathered around your table.
Well, and now for our heirloom recipe, which was submitted by a well-loved former member, Evelyn Gordon. It's a poem which describes the process of making Brunswick stew.
Brunswick stew from Brunswick, Georgia, made with rabbit, squirrel, and deer?
No. Brunswick stew from Brunswick County, Virginia, made with chicken, veal, and middlin, which is just another name for pork.
Well, here we go. Written in verse, the authentic version of Brunswick stew, straight out of Virginia back in the day.
First, catch your chicken, clean and cut, and in an iron pot you put.
Add water nearly to the top, and in it salt and pepper drop.
Boil slowly your tomatoes peel. Put in a shin or so of veal.
And for flavor, bear in mind, a chuck of middlin with the rind.
Next, some onion you throw in, the young and tender skin.
And butter beans, do not forget. And what is more important yet,
The corn. But do not be so fast. This you must cut and add it last.
for better than the flour you'll find it'll do to give a thickness to the stew.
Some lemon peel cut very thin may be added and stirred in.
And ere it's taken from the fire, give it a dash of Worcestershire.
And soon you will hear its praises ring. This is a dish fit for a king.
A big thank you to Barbara and Mary Lynn for joining us this evening for the Heirloom Recipe segment. We appreciate Barbara and Mary Lynn, and also, I think you heard they brought up this idea of a debate. What kind of meat goes in Brunswick stew? It's never really been solved. So we're gonna get into part 2 of the Heirloom Recipe, where we write a jingle. I wrote this yesterday or so, and this one here is called The Great Debate. Let's give it a try.
Hey buddy, did you hear the news? Everybody's talking about Brunswick stew. It's true. The family keeps bickering about it. When it comes to vegetables, they all can agree that okra and potatoes and some lima beans are key. But what kind of meat's supposed to go in it? Johnny says rabbit, Uncle Jimmy says raccoon, Cousin Millie says that squirrel really makes her swoon. Who knew that everybody had an opinion? Mom, she likes goats and Daddy likes pig, but when Grandpa tried to throw in Grandma's wig, I was through. I lost my appetite for Brunswick stew. So let's settle the debate. Yeah, we all think it tastes great.